Go ahead. Okay. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to this evening's meeting of DNewTech. Thank you for coming out, those of you here in person. Thank you for dialing in, those of you that will be watching us remotely. We've got 6 different speakers scheduled for tonight, so we look forward to a great evening. First, I'd like to start with thanking our sponsors. Sketchful, I'm not going to talk much about them because they're actually presenting tonight. What's interesting about our sponsors is we're literally across the state. Our second sponsor is Atomic Object. They're a Grand Rapids-based company. They design and build world-class software products. They've now expanded their base of operations to the Detroit metro area. They're within a half mile of us, Tom? Yeah, half mile of us. They've hosted us a couple of times. They're a really cool company. The Mid-Michigan Innovation Center. They're a smart zone up in the Midland, I was thinking Dow Corning, the Midland area. They also have an operation up in Traverse City. So they're one of our first dual location smart zone areas. They work on fostering innovation both in their area as well as investment up in the Traverse City area. Startguard, another Grand Rapids-based company, investor in my company a ways back. It's an offshoot of their activities similar to the Art Prize activities, where they're reaching out to the community and trying to build an entrepreneurial base across the state. So they've been very supportive of us. DNewTech, another Quicken loans company. They're another incubator based in downtown. I think most of you are familiar with DNewTech, and they've been a really strong supporter. Last but certainly not least, our home sponsor for tonight, Quicken Loans. They've been phenomenal about lending us facilities, which are absolutely great, and we always enjoy our time coming back here and having them host us. So I don't think I've left anybody out. I think everyone's familiar with the format for this evening. We'll have our one guest speaker. They'll speak for 15 to 20 minutes about his or her company. It's his company tonight. Have some time for Q&A. Then we'll have our individual entrepreneurs come up, 5-minute presentation, and then 5 minutes for a Q&A. The only one that we won't time is our keynote speaker. If you're an entrepreneur, you will be timed. My brother Tanya and I, we do have big hooks right around there. So when the bomb goes off, you will be yanked off stage. So while I'm finishing up here, I'd like to ask Pankaj to make his way on forward. Pankaj Dhingra is a partner with Augment Ventures. It's a Michigan-based fund that focuses on early-stage investment in energy efficiency, sustainability, and some related IT sectors. Before that, Pankaj was CEO of NanoStellar, a clean tech company in Silicon Valley that was acquired in 2012. He grew this from a bright idea to a company with global manufacturers at its base. His company was honored as Tech Pioneer at the World Economic Forum, and has been featured in places that people don't care about, like Business Week, Forbes, NBC, and ABC. So he's gotten some good publicity along his time. He's also a finalist for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Pankaj has run 2 startups, as well as a $650 million global business. He has some background with both General Motors, Delphi, and Unisys. Has a BS in Electrical Engineering from BITS, and an MBA from Columbia. Pankaj, go ahead, take it away. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. If you can't hear me, just raise your hand at the back. Okay. So, thanks. So I was talking to Milton and Tan, and they thought that it'd be a good idea just to come in, talk 10 minutes about my background and some of the stuff that I've learned, and then we can have a 5-minute conversation about that. So my background, so I started, started with General Motors. I got tired of GM bureaucracy and switched to Delphi when Delphi was spun off. Delphi was supposed to be this lean, mean company that's not going to be burdened by headquarters. Actually, I was, at that time, I was based in Zurich. And when I told my boss I wanted to switch to Delphi in Flint, it did raise some eyebrows there. Worked for Delphi for a while. But Delphi built a headquarters and hired a building full of lawyers, and that made that a pretty difficult place to work. I ended up working in Indianapolis, running Delphi's battery business. So it was about $600 million in revenues, lost $100 million in 2001. So, it was ugly enough that the headquarters kind of left it alone. So we were able to work. In 2004, the business was sold to JCI, and part of that was lithium battery business that was sold to a company called Ener1. So I took that chance and jumped to Ener1. And at around that time, so this was late 2004 and 2005 period, when a friend of mine who was a professor at Stanford, and another friend who, was like a former provost at Stanford and CEO of SRI, they were founding a new company around materials research. And so I decided that this was a good enough time to leave the corporate bureaucracy behind and start our own company. So we launched the company at the end of 2005. All we had at that time was like, any startup. We had a great idea on how to design new novel materials, had no idea what to do with respect to materials for what, did not know who's going to do the work, who's going to be the customers, and all of that. So we built that up slowly, and along the way made a lot of mistakes and learned a number of lessons, as they call experience, gained a bunch of experience. The company was acquired last year, so I'm back in Michigan now. So when I was talking to Milton and Tan, they thought that it would be good to talk about 2 or 3 lessons that we learned in our journey. And I gave you the context because all of these lessons, we are products of our own histories. So that when I say these are the lessons I learned, this is just pure me. Some of that might be helpful to you, some might not be, so disregard. But the biggest lesson I learned there was that as soon as you have a good idea, if you want to build a company, build a management team first. So when we launched the company, so this was a nanotechnology company, right? In 2006, people were, VCs were throwing money. You just had to say nanotechnology, they'll throw you money at you. But 2008 onwards, things turned quite drastically. And it didn't matter, it was very hard to raise money. But everyone in the VC community told me that you might have a great product. If you don't have a management team, we will not fund. If you have a great management team and you don't yet have a product, we'll give you some money to come up with some product. So, and obviously when I came back, I've been talking to a number of entrepreneurs, and the question comes up is, how do we get a management team if you don't really have a great product yet? What I found when we were building our team is people really want to work for exciting companies. And how exciting a company depends on you. Depends on how passionate you are, how sold are you on your own idea. If you're really excited about it, you're really passionate about it, I think you'll be able to convince really good people to join your team. That's been my experience. And we had, a professor on our team, management team. We had a guy who left. So our early materials were in diesel emissions control. So for diesel catalytic converters that use platinum, and we were doing replacements for platinum. So we had a guy who was formerly a president at Cummins. He joined our management team, and we didn't really have to pay him Cummins type salary. You know, it was like a startup salary with equity, because when he saw how committed the team was and how excited we were, and he wanted to be part of that excitement. And I think you'll find that a lot of people want to be part of an exciting group and do some fun stuff. So I think the team building is not that difficult if you really like your own idea. Second lesson we learned was the really critical nature of the early customer engagement. So our first customer was Fiat. And like I said, we were working on diesel emissions control, and diesel vehicles are mostly popular in Europe. So our customer base was, initial customers were all European companies. We talked to pretty much every European company in the beginning, every diesel company. And you know, all of them were like, yeah, you're a startup, everyone comes and says that they can do big things, but in automotive industry, nothing big happens, and so on. But Fiat was the one that kind of believed, well, they believed that the problem was solvable, and they liked our approach at it. By getting Fiat as an initial customer, that helped us in a number of ways. What works in the lab, by the time you take it out and make it work in real world, you know, there are a lot of changes that need to be made that normally, unless you are in the industry itself, you would not know. And a customer can guide you in terms of what are all of the regulatory and other hurdles that we need to cross. Second, even more important, was whenever we had problems in our testing, you know, our Fiat engineers will say, oh, okay, you know, we have seen this problem before, you know, try these 2 or 3 techniques to try to see if you can, you know, solve the problem that you had. So they were not only our customer, they were our mentor along the way, and that helped quite a bit in terms of speeding up our development and getting into production. So, and then obviously once we were in production, it's much easier to go to other car companies and say, you know, hey, Fiat's using it, you know, obviously this is a validated product. And the third big lesson I learned is it's really easy to get low cost or no cost services and resources. So working for GM in Delphi, right? I mean, anything you want to do is $1 million project, and you have to write 2,000 different requisitions and blah, blah, blah. So at NanoStellar, we needed some really expensive analytical equipment. So, you know, we were using STM, scanning tunneling microscopes and so on, which obviously we did not have the resources to either acquire, buy, or rent, or whatever. But we had agreements with professors at universities. So, you know, this is a really good example. We were working with a professor at University of Kentucky. They had an STEM. They did all the work for us, analytical work. What they got out of that, or the grad students could publish the papers based on the work they did. We got the images that what we wanted. So it was a really nice exchange. You know, they got the new materials, they could do the analysis, they could do the publications, and they actually got a science publication out of that, which was, they were really happy about it. And we got free analytical services out of that. We had similar agreements with Berkeley, we had similar agreements with Michigan, so I mean, I was impressed at how much resources we were able to, how many resources we were able to access without having to pay cash for it, because as you know, at a startup, cash is the most expensive or most scarce commodity that you have. So that's kind of my experience, if you will. Any questions?
I'm very glad you're back in Michigan, but I'm curious why you made the decision to come back to Michigan.
So the home was always Michigan. We never left Michigan. I was commuting and doing, Friday night travels every 2 weeks was very happy.
What is Augment involved with investing in now?
So Augment is an early stage fund. We invest in renewables, energy efficiency, sustainability, and related IT projects.
So getting the first customers, you said, is really takes you kind of into a new level with a startup. But to get there, it takes a lot of work. So I'm curious as to what stage of development your technology was when you started reaching towards the first customer, and what was the kind of problem that you were solving for them that made them want to take on a small startup in this new area for them?
Okay. So the primary catalyst used in diesel converters is platinum. And quite a lot of platinum gets used in diesel. So roughly a car would have, a 1.3 liter engine would have roughly $200 worth of platinum in it. A truck would have maybe $1,200, $1,300 worth of platinum. So, there's a lot of cost involved. We were focused on coming up with materials that replace platinum with other lower cost materials. Our first idea was, our first product was replacing platinum with gold, which was a great idea in 2008. No, 2008 platinum was $2,000 an ounce, gold was $700 an ounce. That's when we really got Fiat as a customer. Of course, in 2011, gold prices were higher than platinum, and that did work well. But, so we had lab results that said that gold, in a certain configuration, could replace platinum, but we did not have anything more than lab results. Now, having said that, we went around and spoke to every diesel car and truck company in Europe and the US. So it wasn't easy to find a customer. Customers were not lining up. They were really skeptical because a lot of stuff works in the lab, and in the real exhaust has got all of this mess, phosphorus, sulfur, oil, all that other junk comes out, and a lot of materials fail there. So pretty much everyone said, interesting, but when you have it working in a real vehicle, come and see us then. Fiat was the only one who said, yeah, let's work together. Did that answer your question?
Both you and I had the experience of working for some of the biggest companies in the world, like GM and Delphi. And then we both went out with basically nothing and started small companies. So contrast your managerial approach and what work you need to do. We're coming out of a big company environment, lots of support, to you being one of 2, 3, 4 people having to do everything.
Right. So, so big companies obviously have a lot of support, a lot of help. You can put that in quotations or not in quotations, but you have lawyers who do all the agreements. You get the finance people that look at all of that stuff. At a small company, you have to do it all yourself. So, lawyers are expensive, as you know. We would write agreements, not from scratch, but we'll take an agreement that we find over the internet or something, duplicate it, adapt it to what we thought we needed, and then we'll give it to our lawyer and say, if this is okay, say yes, otherwise fix it, so that we don't pay you for writing it entirely. Same with patent applications. Obviously, that's where a lot of legal money goes. We used to write our own patent applications, then give it to our legal advisor, who would then, make it better rather than write it from the very beginning. I was the CEO and the CFO because we were not big enough to have a CFO. That means I did the financial model, the business plan. You learn it. Internet is full of tutorials for anything you want to do. It just takes a lot of late nights. But if you are really into your product or into your idea, you would spend those late nights. And if you cannot spend those late nights, then you got to question whether this is the real idea you want to pursue. Sorry.
When you started your company, did you focus 100% on this, or were you working with another company? Were the other managers 100% invested time-wise into the project or the company? Did you guys all come together, or were you working for separate companies and kind of moonlighting or something?
So I was the dumb one who left my company in Fort Lauderdale and moved to California and be here 100%. So the professor at Stanford, the other co-founder, he stayed at Stanford and we spent some time at the company. And our chairman, the third co-founder, he's again, continued with his work. I would not suggest doing that because, so I was lucky, right? Because, we got $3 million like almost immediately because of hype around nanotechnology. But if it wasn't the case, I would be in a pretty bad shape. So.
I got just a quick question. In regards to your investments now, what companies are in your portfolio and what type of returns are you giving these type of companies?
So we have two companies in our portfolio right now. One's called Aperia Technology. They have they're an automatic tire inflation company. So they have a tire pump that gets mounted on the hub of the commercial vehicle wheels, so and keeps the tire inflated to the regular pressure, and that saves obviously tire life and fuel efficiency and so on. The other company is LlamaSoft, which is a supply chain planning software company. And we are looking at a couple of other companies in similar sustainability area. Looking at, so I talked a little bit about the three lessons. So what we try to do is when we see good ideas, we'll try to help the entrepreneur build up his or her team, help with business development, getting the first project, first customer, and so that we can jumpstart the company. We normally would invest in the seed stage or the Series A stage.
Oh, no, my question was similar to his. I just want to understand, so when you started your company with the diesel engines and things like that, you left the other companies, so you were completely dedicated to that while the other managers or management team still had something they were working on, right?
Right.
They were just supporting you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, I would not advise that.
Time for one more question. Go ahead.
I just wonder how you got in front of the decision makers at Fiat or wherever.
A great resource for that is LinkedIn. You keep asking your friends, do you know anyone there? So, obviously I was a GM before all of this started. So ask my GM friends, and they meet each other at conferences, and so I know somebody at Fiat, and go to this person. People are very helpful. One thing I found is companies are very skeptical. They don't want to work with startups. But individuals are really helpful. They'll put you in touch with the right people, and then it's up to you to get up the courage and go and pitch. Thank you, everyone.
I've been instructed to stand over here as speaker to help with the lighting. So Pankaj will be able to stay through the rest of the evening, so after we finish, he'll be able to answer some more questions. Just one brief commentary on one of the things that Pankaj said. When you're starting out, you're selling yourself. And that is probably the biggest element to him being able to get in front of his customer. I've gone through the same thing myself. Great product, no one cares, they're always skeptical. But reaching out to people that believe in you is crucial. We'll go ahead and start then with our individual speakers. Thanh Tran, who is the coordinator of DNewTech, is actually going to talk about his new company. So those of you that have rotten apples, bad tomatoes, overripe bananas, please get those ready. Let's show Thanh what it's like to be up here as a speaker. So he'll finish pulling his documentation. Thanh we go way back to classes together at Tech Town. That's our hometown incubator. Thanh was with DNewTech when he started his first company. He sold it for something like $1 trillion. He won't quite reveal it to us, but it could solve the national debt issue. So he's now doing it again as a serial entrepreneur. So Thanh, come on over here. So
actually, I'm gonna have, that's the only way I
just
can
hit me. Tell me to hit the button. That way you can be seen. Otherwise, you'll be shot.
Actually, my partner was supposed to present, and just by coincidence, he contacted me, and so I'm gonna give you the presentation. So I'll put in my own timer, because the only reason why is because I know I'm going to go over the 5 minutes. So here we go. Anyways, before I start up, my name is Tom. Most of you guys know. I'm here to introduce you to Sketchful. And give me a second. I got a text here. I apologize. It's my dentist saying that they have an opening tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and I've been trying to get in for the last 2 weeks, so this is a lifesaver. So let me go ahead and say, okay, I'll take it. So basically, that's kind of give you an idea, a good start that this is actually the way Sketchful works. Sketchful is basically an application, web-based tool that will allow you to remind your clients and patients of an appointment that they have scheduled or reschedule their appointments if they end up canceling their appointments. And then on top of that, it will also fill in that cancellation slot if there's a case where it looks through your wait list that you have people on and that you manage on Sketchful. So let me give you an example, because I think this will help out a little bit more. Say that you have a practice and you have a full schedule that's coming up in the following week. And what happens is that everyone has cancellations and no-shows, mostly in the medical practice. What happens now is that they traditionally do a few things. One thing is that they do paper wait lists for those who want to be seen sooner. And then also they are doing phone tags and calling people, which is very, very low tech, but also it could be non-efficient, and it's never fun playing phone tags. You can also do cancellation fees, penalize the people who are canceling late, and that usually never goes very well with your customers, and more importantly, they might not return for your services. Lastly, you can overbook. Most medical practices are overbooking because they are foreseeing future cancellations. But what happens is that you get a room full of people waiting to see the doctor. And the problem there is that we all have experienced it pretty badly, that we actually end up waiting for the doctor. So what result is that you have customers who are very unhappy. The problem is that you have open slots that are, basically people are canceling, and you have people who want to be seen sooner. So this is where Sketchful comes in. We basically merge the two. And so what happened is that Sketchful is a web tool. Again, it works on all devices, and it can be integrated with your scheduling system. Even more, it can actually work independently. And it works for every appointment-based business that you can think of. The one thing that, let's kind of show you how it kind of works. Let's say you log in securely and you go to the home page. If it's not integrated, you can actually import the information or type it in. Simply just put in the name, email, just contact information. You can customize this form as well, because once you customize, let's say you have multiple providers and multiple office locations, you basically fill that out. If you sign up as a schedule account, you basically will get the link in to your personal forms, and you also have a widget that you can actually add to your website, so you don't have to put in the information. And then once you put that person's information on the waitlist, your waitlist might look like this. And when availability kicks in, you just go back to the home page and you just put in an opening that's available, and Schedule does the rest. It looks through the list of people that you put on your wait list, and according to the preferences, when, where, and who, and you can even customize your message that you're sending out to them. Once they reply to you, then you can call them back or email them or text them, however you want. So you can just continue to talk to them, in regards to making a phone call to see when they want to come in. So the result here is that you're going to get a fuller schedule, so everyone wins in that scenario. More importantly, you're going to make money. A lot of businesses, basically, they lose $100 for medical practice for every cancellation. So you basically will get a return on your investment with our product, and you get a happier customer. They're going to jump overjoyed, do cartwheels, because you're able to fit them in sooner. So let me tell you where we are now as a company. So right now, we've basically launched our beta as of January. And as of January, we have 3 paid beta users. We actually charge $20 a month for our beta, and the reason why for that is 2. One is because we believe that our product offer a value to their business. Basically, most of these appointment-driven businesses can return their investment instantly with the first cancellation failure. We also just recently been awarded a innovation partner with Greenway Medical Technologies Marketplace. So all the customers are using their electronic medical record software. They're actually able to work with Schedule for their scheduling solutions. So why are we here? I got 30 seconds to tell you this. We are here because we are actually having our idea up in Start Guarding. And what we're asking for you today, if you guys can just pull up your phone or your hey, I got 19 seconds according to my time. But basically, we're just asking for your vote. So please help endorse us, because we believe that our idea not only helps the healthcare providers, but we also any appointment-based services. And more importantly, we are here to ask for your help too. If you have anybody who are appointment-driven, we'd love to get some sales and try to gain more business in. Check us out. My name is Tom. My partner is Tashbeen. He's not here, and we're Schedule.
Any questions?
Maria.
Tom, this is really great. I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm curious, yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, how does this work with some of the implementing with the systems that they are currently using to manage their?
Well, for instance, with Greenway, we actually had to apply to be part of their marketplace. And once we got approved, we built an API. So one way, there's actually 3 ways. Let's just say, if you're already using an application or software that we are partnered with, very simply, you just download our software, it works well with it, because we built an API already for that. Now, in case that you don't have a software that is integrated with us, we can build an API for additional service. The secondary part is that actually that's actually a great business case for us too, for white labeling our product. The other is that we actually, if you look at when I did the form, we actually gave you the opportunity to import your information. So on a weekly basis, if we're not integrated, you can actually import your patients or clients' data a week in advance, so that way they can go ahead and contact them. No personal information, basically information about the name and how they want to be contacted. And if you have any other crucial information, such as additional doctors or additional offices, you can add that to it. But again, you can import that using CSVs, Excel format. And the third is just by hand. So that was our third option.
Sure.
Does that answer your question?
It does, thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Outside of medical, what other industries are you targeting?
Oh, definitely salons. Salons is a huge one. We actually have someone beta testing that, and it's again, Tashbeen is a radiologist by trade. He's actually a resident at the Henry Ford, and so both of us come from the medical background, so we kind of have these network. But the reason why I kind of venture into this, because there's more than just medical here.
Right.
It's huge for the market in regards to if we can tap into, like when we said salons, they use MindBody as a software. We're just building that. I mean, there's no partnership rules for us to build it. So we're just building API for that, because for anyone who's using MindBody in these salons, training fitness centers, or massage clinics, they can actually use our software. So we're trying to find out what are some of the industries out there that could use this, and we're open for ideas. Deepak?
Yeah. So what I'm really interested in is, of the 10,000 ideas that you get every 30 seconds, how did you know this one you're going to follow up? And then what was your journey in getting to today?
Well, just quickly, me and Jasmine, we were introduced by a common friend back late 2011. I was still having Mentino, my EMR. And eventually when I kind of sold the business and I was trying to find my next gig, I was doing a lot of consulting, but I was also trying to find a partner who I can actually do my next venture with. Nothing really clicked with me, or just, I didn't click with them. But when Tashfin came up, he realized I sold my software. He came up to me and said, hey, I got this idea. What do you think about? I kind of played with it for a couple of months. This is, I didn't really jump on the bandwagon. And I saw the potential of this. And so I just said, I think this is it. And I think this works for everybody who's in entrepreneurship, is that, it's a gold mine when you can find a programmer. Tashfin is that programmer. He's a radiologist and programmer. Same thing with my last business. So I wasn't going to give that up, but at the same time, this has potential to grow, not only the medical industry, but also in the other service-driven industry. Yeah?
Does your software automatically text or email or call customer?
Yeah,
what's the technology there?
Yeah, when you register, you have to get two things. You get a dedicated email, that's a scheduled email, and you also get a phone number. And it gets your inbox, everything sends to that inbox, and using that phone. So you don't have to put in your business phone. It just goes in there because people can text you and send you voice messages there. Now, the other question is that you can always reply to them by voice, email, or text too. So you don't have to provide, you don't have to use what we offer you, like the email and the phone number that we provide.
So I guess what I'm asking is, if there's a cancellation, your system figures out who to fill it. How is that customer that's going to be filled into that slot get contacted? Does the doctor's office have to call them or email them themselves, or does your software automatically contact the person?
There is some user interface when it comes to integration. If it's integrated, then it knows the slot and it just put it in there. It will notify the schedule, of course, when something gets filled up. But when it's not integrated, there is that user who has to go in the inbox or realize that they got something in their inbox and put that into their scheduling system. I think my time is up, but I'll answer one more question.
No, it's just more so a comment. You said that you wanted to look at other industries. I think you should reach out to the folks at StyleSeat. It's a social network for beauty and wellness professionals. And they have like almost a few 100,000 members. So I think this integrating this with their product could be a good idea for you.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you more after this. But go to Start Garden, please. Because and tomorrow ends, so I definitely need your vote. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, voting for Start Garden starts on Fridays and it ends Thursdays at noontime. So that's the deadline for time. It's noontime tomorrow. Mike is going to start to slowly work his way up. Mike is going to talk about his company, Glyph. A little bit of background. Mike doesn't like paying for things. He's been to Europe 3 times, Hawaii twice, and South Africa once, all using rewards points. And that's sort of some of the background of his company. Glyph aspires to be the intelligent layer to the mobile wallet, helping consumers maximize rewards, reduce interest, and improve their credit scores all at the same time. So Mike's going to finish calling up his file. And then, so stand over here is okay? Roger, right here is okay?
Yeah, that way.
Just stand right here in the corner of the meeting.
Sure. Thank you for that. Thanks for coming. I'm Mike. I see a couple of friendly faces in the audience. Just a quick poll. How many of you out there have at least one credit card? Okay, so that's the whole room. And for those of you that put your hands up, how many of you have at least one card that has rewards? Okay, so again, it's a full room. And of those, how many of you are completely convinced that your credit card or credit cards are getting you the best rewards or the most rewards that you could possibly get? So 2, 3 maybe. Okay, so we're going to solve that problem, and I'll show you a demo. There's going to be 3 parts to this. 1, I'm going to talk about the problem. 2, I'll show you a couple of demos, and then 3, I'll tell you where we're headed in the future. So that, helping solve that issue that we just identified, people don't know if their cards are the best for them, right? The second thing is, once you go out in the real world to buy something, there's the question, well, which credit card should I use on this purchase to maximize my rewards, right? Because sometimes you'll get 5% at a restaurant with this card, 6% at the grocery store with this card. No one knows. So what we've built is a service that you're seeing for the first time. It's not live yet. But essentially, the average American misses out on $600 in rewards each year. And we make sure that you don't. And as this graph illustrates, what you can see is, this is average American, $630 in rewards per year. And this graph represents the amount of rewards that you're missing. It's hard to see, but usually about $160 in rewards, 90 or so bucks on retail, 110 on gas. So, through a pretty cool partnership with a company called Yodlee, we are able to link to your bank account. So let's say that, and this is the CSS on this page is messed up, but similar to mint.com, you can link to Glyph, and we can suck in the last 90 days worth of transactions that you've made. We can run them through our algorithm, and then we will create for you this graph. And for the sake of illustration, let's just pretend that you are a young professional. So for the young professional, so we'll create this graph individually for each person out there, right, by linking their account to their bank. Then we break that down into the best cards that you could possibly have, right? So you'll get $275 on that US bank card. You'll get $154 on that Blue Cash by Amex, and $148 from the Starwood Hotels card. Okay, great, right? Now, what if you actually don't like hotel points? You can come down here and you can play with one of many different preferences. So you can say, I want cards that only focus on cash back, or I want cards with no annual fee, or I want cards that give me a free check bag. And in our card database, this works very similar to a stock screener, right? So you see this number down here. We haven't started selecting anything yet. So let's say you travel a lot internationally and you want no foreign transaction fee. Boom. You click that button and it updates at the bottom. So let's say same story with annual fee. So 108 cards have no annual fee in our database. You can refresh the model, and it will take that preference and put it over top of your score or your analysis. So before we said there was, what, $629 in rewards or something like that? I don't remember what that number said. And now you can see, because you've cut out cards that have no fees, no annual fee associated with them, the number shrunk. And so the question is, was it worth $300 to you to get that no annual fee, right? And you can play with that for every preference that's out there, right? So this is all about helping you build the perfect credit card portfolio for you based on your spend, because we analyze your actual spend, and then your preferences, which you can play around with. So that's the first part of it, and hopefully this will go well. But let me show you what happens when you go out in the real world. Because when you go out in the real world today, that's when all hell breaks loose. You don't know which card to use. So hopefully this will come on. There we are. That's my wife. Now you know my passcode. So you just open Glyph, and what you see is your wallet, right? And this is my actual data. So I've put 4 cards in here. One is a Starwood card, one is the American Express Blue Cash, and so on, the Costco card. So what you can do is track your balances, your credit limit, and your utilization on each credit card. Because most people, is that 5 minutes? Yeah. Most people don't realize when they're over. So here's how it works, right? So let's say you're at Jimmy John's, boom, 5% on the Discover It. Whereas if you're at or something else, the Rolling Cafe, still 5%. If you're at, let's see, what's another place? Starbucks, still 5%. Starbucks also offers you 5% on this card. And then the Discover It card is pretty good. Now let's go to Ferrand's. Boom, 3% on the Starwood Preferred Guest card. So we take into account all of the card program details, and we tell you in real time which card is best for you. So I'm over time. Pause.
Great. Thank you. Any questions?
How do you make money?
Who said that? You said that. So the way we make money in the near term, we have a affiliate relationship with credit card companies. So every time someone is approved for a new card, we get paid, usually between 50 and 80 bucks. In the future, what we want to build is, we think of it as kind of an AdWords for mobile transactions. So you saw here at Ferrand's, 3% was the winner. If my bank could bid 3.5% dynamically in real time for you, right? Then we want to build that platform. So we think of it as kind of an AdWords for every single mobile transaction.
I like the idea. I think it's a good idea. As you said, almost everyone here has multiple credit cards. I think it's such a good idea, though. How are you going to get me to use this more than one time? So I have an American Express, a Visa. I set my credit cards. I do my transactions. Why am I using this again?
Which part, the web or the mobile?
I mean, really, I guess any part. Why am I ever going to use it to choose my credit cards again? I guess what you're having me do is kind of use it per actual restaurant every time I go, but not using it to reset my cards. Will I ever use it to reset my cards, I guess?
Reset your cards, what do you mean?
I'm secure with American Express and Visa. I think part of this is, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, is to get users to switch cards to whatever the optimum card is for them over your 282 card database. Mm-hmm. Once I do that once, why would I do it again?
So on the web, I think if you do it once, you're probably not going to do it. The idea is not to get you to come back and do it every day, right? It's to help you and then you move on your way. That's on the web. Mm-hmm. Having said that, as you move through your life and you move from being a young professional to a family and an empty nester, your spend changes, right? So therefore your cards should change. So that's kind of one use case, but it's certainly not every day. The use case for the app is something where you should be checking it every time when you're making a purchase. Now, if you're buying a pack of gum at the convenience store, you're probably not going to pull out your phone to check. You might have, guessed. But if you're buying a $2,000 TV or a $100 meal, it's worth pulling out your phone because you're going to get $5 just by, batting your eyes. So that's kind of the idea, and each person's got to make that choice for themselves. Is it worth pulling out the phone? Of course, we want to make it easy for people. So you can imagine a setting where you can say, remind me anytime I'm at a restaurant. Or remind me anytime I'm at a gas station. And we send you a push notification that says, hey, use your XYZ card because it's best. So that's kind of the future, but I think it's also worth saying that we believe mobile payments is an eventuality. So soon you'll be paying with your phone. And I think it would be incredibly unintelligent if you, had no offense, I'm sure you're a smart guy, had to pick which card you wanted to use, right? Because there's all kinds of different factors that go into that, including your credit score, right? So most people don't realize if you have greater than 30% of any single account utilized, that will damage your credit score. So we want to juggle all those variables so that you don't have to think, and that's why our brand slogan is peace of wallet.
When we get to that point where we are paying by our cell phones, can that all happen automatically in the background?
The answer is it depends. And there's really two scenarios that we think can play out. First is someone like Discover or American Express or Visa or MasterCard could open their rails, right, their payment infrastructure, to third-party developers. And in which case, any place that accepts those networks, we would be able to process payments. That may or may not actually play out, right? There's differing opinions on that. The other scenario is that someone like Google or Square or Apple is a big, wallet provider. And what we are building is an intelligent solution that can be served as an API to any of those wallets in real time. So we like where we are because that is not ubiquitous yet. Mobile payments is not a ubiquitous thing. And so no one's really focused on it. All those big boys are focused on infrastructure so that you can pay anywhere, on any phone, on any credit card. So there's a lot of infrastructure stuff that has to be built first. And so what we want to do is get ahead of the game so that when we are reaching a tipping point in mobile payments, we can simply plug it in and cover all the edge cases of weird things that can possibly happen.
How are you guys funding this so far?
So back in April, we raised money from two friends. One was my entrepreneurship professor, and then second was his friend who's the CEO of a bank in mid-Michigan, and we're currently raising money. So that's a good ad. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I've been ignoring it.
Well, it seems like this is a great platform. Once you get mobile payments up and running or able to pay through your mobile phone for a credit card, who's building that technology and how far off do you think it is?
That technology being the mobile payments infrastructure?
Use your phone as a credit card.
Well, like I said, I think Visa or Discover or somebody could easily open it up, and then it's there, right, for the most part, through assuming that the terminal has NFC.
Open it up.
Yeah, so that's part of it, and then we've also been talking with Google and Square and others about where they are. So the Google guys, they say 2013 is the year of infrastructure. And as we get toward the end of 2013, intelligence will be the next biggest thing. So I don't know. I think it'll take a little bit longer than that, which is partially why we've built the web app the way we have, so that we can, sustain ourselves without going bankrupt until the mobile payment happens.
Offerall also has access to those rails. Jeff Colombo, the guy, the guys who started My Life, was like reunion.com and My Life. Some type of intellectual property lawsuit a few years ago. They also have access to those rails too, so you guys should reach out to them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Offerall.com.
Offerall.com.
Okay.
Cool. Let's go ahead and stop here so we can get our next speaker. But Mike will be around afterwards. We can ask some more questions.
Thank you.
Know a lot more than we do. So when Sola and I were talking, she said, well, Sola is the abbreviation of my name. I said, well, what's your full name and what does it stand for? Her full first name is Olub Osola, and it means God will bless you with wealth. Now, like I said, it helps to have parents that know your future before you even get there. So her parents have already kind of destined where she's going to go. The name of her company is Pavo, and Pavo is Latin for peacock. So I think we're set with the tape. Sola, go ahead, and I think you're up. Take it away.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Sola. The things you're passionate about are an extension of who you are. It's this fundamental belief that differentiates Pavo from any other social network out there. My name is Sola, and I want to thank Tan for inviting us tonight. You've been trying to get us here for a while. I'm co-founder of Pavo, and we have been working on this social platform for over 1.5 years now. And this is my co-founder, Dave Mihai. Again, because it bears repeating, I want to repeat and say that the things that you're passionate about are an extension of who you are. I'll give you a little story about how Pavo came to be. So in my day-to-day life, when I love something, I take a photo of it and I share it on my social networks. Typically, my friends will ask me where I got it from. It could be a pair of shoes from the Peacock Room. It could be a new dish I tried at Rodin. It could be a gift from my younger brother. But they always ask me where I got it from. They want to know how much it was. They want to know who manufactured it, but they want to know how they can get that product as well. Typically, I have to respond to their inquiries individually. I have to say that this is how much it was, this is where I got it from. It's time consuming and it's tedious for me to respond individually to everyone. And this is the solution that we've developed. Pavo turns data into shoppable art by embedding the brand information store information and pricing information directly into the photo that's shared through the social platform. Facebook doesn't do this, Pinterest doesn't do this, and Fancy doesn't do this. I'm sure you've heard of the social graph, and most of you have heard of the taste graph, but what we're building what we're building is a passion graph. So we believe that passion is the glue that bonds consumers to stores, products, and brands for their entire lifetimes. We believe that your likes and your interests can change based on your mood, but your passion stays with you for your entire lifetime. Our business model is freemium, so any user can use it for free, but we have premium features for stores and brands, and we're also going to charge transaction fees and commission fees whenever a product is sold through the platform. The biggest opportunity for Pavo lies in native advertising. Native advertising was a term that was coined just this past September, which is proof that we're extremely close to product market fit. The digital industry is currently ripe for disruption. Digital advertising and data targeting models have been pulled in from the traditional world and dumped into the digital ecosystem. Those are the models that we're currently using, extremely dated, and the world is ready for something new. Did you know that traditional display ads online have a CTR, which is a click-through rate of 0.05%? Marketers are looking for an effective way to reach their consumers, and they're going all in with digital. Last year, the global digital spend on online marketing was over $100 billion. And this year, it's projected to increase by 15.1%. Pavo is not a deals platform, and Pavo is not a pinboard. We're fundamentally different from any other social network in that we're building a system, we're building a network around your passion as an individual. If you can imagine a platform where every encounter that you have with it is directly related to something that you're personally passionate about, that's what we're building. We're bridging, another differentiator is that we're bridging the physical and digital worlds, and we're focusing on local. Currently, we're in the early stages of raising $1 million locally, and we will be launching locally over the summer, and we're targeting Black Friday, November, for our national launch. Another thing is that we're releasing our private beta within a week, and we're going to be opening it up to stores and brands locally. So if you personally know a store and brand that would benefit from being on this platform, please send them our way. GetPavo.com is the website. It's live right now. So you can go to the website, type in your email address, and request an invite for when we do launch the consumer mobile app the next few weeks. Lastly, I just want to say that personally, I'm pumped to be launching this here in Detroit, and we can't wait to watch how it changes the lives of the people around us. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to my co-founder, Dhingra. He's going to demo the app real quick.
Hello, everybody. So, real quick, we only have a few seconds. Okay, if I go through a few slides. I just want to show real quick what we've got together so far for our MVP, just give you an idea how it could work. Basically, the mobile app, I'm just going to talk into how you would take a picture and tag it with the information that Sol was talking about, and then share it with your friends. So in the app, just like any apps, you'll be able to take a photo or choose from your library. And they'll walk you through a wizard of a couple of things you need to do with the photo. One is to crop it. And once you have the photo in, it's going to give you a couple options on what to do with the photo. You can apply a filter, add a caption, things like that. But what I want to point out is once you tap on the photo, it's going to prompt you for some information about that photo. And the first thing is, what is it? I mean, is it something you wear, eat, or drink, or if it's something you use or play with? The next thing it'll ask you is, what is it? Where'd you get it from? And some optional information like how much did it cost and what is the brand. Once we have that data, the users tag that photo with the data, we can take that data and create what we call like a final look to the image. We can take the brand logo, store logo, pricing information embedded in the image, and then the user can take that and share it among their social network. And also, the app will allow you to discover and to find out what other people have been tagging and uploading into the system. And I think that's the quick overview.
Good. Thank you. Any questions?
Is there any kind of incentive to the user to input the brand data?
Yeah, there are incentives. We are developing a model that will actually allow consumers to be paid for their photos. I can't go too much in depth into it at this point, but essentially their consumers will be able to receive compensation if someone actually clicks through and buys a product that's inside, that they've tagged inside the photo.
Yeah, and also once they've tagged that photo, they've created this photo with this data that's actually kind of looks more cool looking than their original photo. So that's one way of showing off, thus the peacock of Pavo, is to show off what your passions are. Another thing too is that in the behind the scenes, the brand or the store is going to know that you tagged that with their information, and we'll have a way for them to reach out to you with incentives and coupons, things like that.
With the tagging information, can it like even tell you how much the product costs, where to buy it?
Yeah. So usually we'll put it in, and we'll hope to link it to the actual store brand's website to be able to purchase it if they want.
So I like the shawl, I know where to buy it, how much it costs.
What do you guys do about counterfeits?
Like how?
You got a bag right there for Coach or something? What if it's fake?
Oh, well, that person's not selling that bag. I mean, they can tag it as...
You're sharing the data with somebody that might be actually like Coach or whatever brand.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we haven't actually thought about that, but...
Yeah, there'll be a process for validating the brands and stores that are going to be participating on the platform.
Yeah, I was going to ask something similar to that. How do you verify the data? How do you account for like clearances or different prices like that? And then is this just like an app or something that someone would download and then it's pushed out to the other social networking sites? Is that how it works?
Yeah, yeah, it is an app that they would have on their phone, and then once they can take that, whatever image they generate, they can share it to different social platforms. Yeah.
Oh, they're right. You and then
Okay, I'm not on Instagram, but what's the difference between this and Instagram?
That's a fantastic question. Instagram is actually more of a feature rather than a platform. It's a service that allows you to take a photo and apply a filter and share it on your networks. That's the full extent of Instagram. There's some social stuff that happens, when you interact with the photo itself on their platform, but there's no deeply integrated social network. There's no discovery preferences based around your passions, and they had no monetizing strategy.
I would say as far as counterfeits, I mean, am I going to push counterfeits onto my local community? That just seems like something that is illogical. But beyond that point, I think so many of the larger venture capitalists, if you go on YouTube, are talking about building out communities, which is kind of what you're talking about. I feel is building out kind of like these local small communities. What are you doing to reach out to retailers, maybe in North Dakota, to reach out to that kind of small community? Because I can see kind of value in that.
Yeah, well, we're starting with Detroit,
right?
But we're going to use our experience here as a model for those local communities. We particularly want those smaller communities to be on the platform and benefit from using it. So we're using Detroit as a model.
I know you started talking about native advertising and like how this is superior to kind of the old ad model. Can you talk a little more about that and why, how this fits in?
Native advertising is different from display in that it doesn't disrupt the consumer's experience. So it's integrated into the ecosystem in such a way that it looks like it's just another Pavo photo being shared through the network. The only difference is that it could be sponsored. So a company could sponsor it, and you would see it maybe earlier in your experience and your interaction for that day, your discovery experience. So that's primarily how it's different. It's integrated into the system, there's no disruption, it's highly effective. Facebook is making a lot of money through their mobile ads because they're native.
Can you remind me, in the beginning, it was that when after you take the picture, what were the 3 choices? If it was something that I eat.
Yeah, so this goes for the verticals that we started with, the 3 ones. So is it something that you wear, eat or drink, or play or use with?
So could I encourage someone to do something that I was doing? And so maybe I don't want to offer a product, but maybe I want to encourage you to hang out where I'm hanging out, or, you know, run the breast cancer run with me, or do something cool that I'm doing.
Yeah, we could expand the vertical about places to visit, things to do.
Right now we're starting with 3 verticals, but the idea is that long term, Pablo will include every consumer vertical.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We have one more.
When she said that it was kind of a great idea. Visit obviously would make a lot of sense, but do you think that'll hurt you guys by limiting the options?
Would it hurt us by what?
By now offering only 3 verticals.
Oh, at this time?
Yeah, do you think it will hurt you guys?
Well, we were just going to go with 1.
Actually, most consumer product apps like these usually start with 1. But we're starting with 3 because the last thing the world needs is another fashion app or another food app. So we're building a lifestyle curation app. And really, as we continue to add verticals to the experience, the more richer your experience will be. So no, it's only going to help us to add another one.
We'll stop there. Folks will be around afterwards to ask some more questions. Justin? While Justin slowly walks his way on up, and we change the program here, you can walk a little faster. I asked Justin a little bit about his background, and he said, I've never worked in these industries before. He's director of business development, never worked in software, never worked in investigative industries before coming to the company. So you don't need to know anything about what you're doing to become a multi-gazillionaire at doing it. He's a perfect example. He did on a couple of Jimmy Johns, which gave him some funding going into this thing. And he said that their application is used as the backbone of organizations investigating hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud each and every year. So keep your hand on your wallet, and Justin, go ahead and take it away as soon as time's. Do you want to click through, or do you want me to?
You can click through if I want. I'll click through. Okay.
You want me to stand in the good lighting? You just need to go back a couple slides. We'll go forward 1 more because nobody's here is going. There you go. Ready?
Yep.
So the problem is that fraud is everywhere, and a lot of people are investigating it. Medicare alone estimates about $80 billion a year is lost to fraud. Ford Motor Company investigates hundreds of millions of dollars in fraudulent parts, trademark infringements, employees stealing ideas, and so forth. A lot of this fraud and a lot of this investigation is done very manually using spreadsheets, Excel, databases, sticky notes, notepads, believe me. So what we did was come out with a web-based application for collaborating and actually building cases. We started off just in the insurance vertical to prove or disprove fraud. We started with custom case management solutions for large insurance carriers. We had overseas developers, which posed some problems with domain knowledge and not actually being able to solve the bigger problems of our company, of our clients. We also developed a one-off vendor management platform, and this is important when you get to where we're going ahead with our company in the last slide. Currently, we have dedicated in-house dev team plus myself. That's it. So I basically do everything short of writing code. We're getting heavily involved in agile development methodologies. The application is a constant work in progress. It's not static. We actually do 2-week
sprints and do releases with uninterrupted service to all of our clients. All of our clients are, for the case management portion, are now on the same code base as opposed to before where they had their own instance. Now everybody's on their own account on the same code base, and that's important to understand that moving forward. So case management, I'm guessing you all use some type of project management tool online to help collaborate and build projects. Case management is very similar, and again, we're targeting the investigations industry. So just going over a couple tabs here at the top, you've got your case list. So this is your list of cases. This is how you're going to organize your workload. You've got shared calendars. Assignments tab basically tells you who's working on what. And there's a whole host of business and compliance reporting options as well. Basically, any data that we're capturing in the application, you can run a report on, which is important for a myriad of reasons. This is an example of the case. So on the case level, you've got the details tab, which can be configured for any type of investigation you're doing, whether it's insurance, whether it's cheating spouses, whether it's trademark infringements, etc. It keeps a history of all the activities that were done by who on the case. So again, that helps with collaborating, where you have outside vendors maybe helping you out. You have internal team, you have analysts, and a bunch of different people working on the case all at once. You can make assignments through the application to both internal people in your team and also outside vendors. You can create different actions in there. You can set tasks, personal reminders, and events that are related to the case, and it's all in the shared calendar. The notes section is pretty self-explanatory. Any communications or notes that are relevant to the case can be kept in here. We do have cloud storage for all of our files. You can upload hours worth of surveillance video. You can put in background checks, any other documentation you need. And then we also have an option to actually produce a final case report. So rather than rekeying all the data that you've got here in your notes and your files, it'll actually pull all that into one final report. Everything in the application is permission-based, so depending on who you are and how you're logging in, you can and cannot see different cases, you can and cannot perform different functions, which is very important to understand. Next slide. So the value of all this, you're creating a collaborative work environment to build cases. You can do a lot more with less resources. You can investigate more claims or whatever you're investigating, and again, the list is pretty long. Go to the next one. So we built a one-off vendor management, and vendor means this is built for an international insurance carrier. He uses approximately 10,000 vendors, which is defined by anybody else that's helping out with these investigations. This is a really basic thing. All of their adjusters and internal investigators can search for a vendor based on city, state. They can set radiuses if they know the name, service type. So you might need surveillance, you might need an accident scene reconstruction. Damn, that was fast. I practiced too.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
You can skip forward. You can skip forward. We've been hindered by a limited budget for marketing and sales. There's never enough hours in the day. We could always use more development staff. You can skip forward again. Where we're going with this is we're going to actually combine the vendor management with the case management. So no matter who you are, you can send case information over to another company to help you work with those cases. So think of one global directory with vendor profiles in there. Company profiles. So no matter if I'm a large organization or if I'm a small guy and I need help with a case, I can share case information back and forth. That's where the whole referral system comes into. We're looking at a new pricing model. You can skip to the next one. The goal is to do a universally accepted platform for managing all types of investigations and business relationships. So it should be a very viral thing to get everybody on board. Sorry.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
So you said you're working with an international case management company that's testing this platform, is that right?
We actually, our clients range from international insurance carriers to government entities to corporate entities, all the way down to small private investigation companies.
So do you have anyone who's using the system yet?
All those people are using, we have thousands of users already.
And they all think that the two-column set of values or the advantages that you listed, they buy into that?
Absolutely.
Have you approached them? You know, I mean, 500,000 is not a lot of money. Have you approached them for funding? Maybe they'll give you some, advance on your, monthly subscription or whatever.
We absolutely do. It's a very, very long, drawn-out sales process. The large insurance carriers, it's a long story, maybe we can talk more later, but the entities within insurance carriers that do investigations are actually on the loss side of the balance sheet for an insurance carrier. And they cannot prove, they're not allowed by law to say that, hey, we saved this company this much money by investigating and cutting off the claim payout.
So are you asking companies to kind of like inherit or use your proprietary software in addition to what they have? Are they filling in the same information twice? And you're hoping for them to migrate to your new software?
What we do is we all the clients that we have now and moving into the future, right, we would get them off their Excel spreadsheets, their internal access databases. We can import all of their case data, we can import their files, and we can also export all of their information as well.
Okay, so you're almost selling a new database.
That's yes, exactly. A permission access database that's on the web as opposed to an access database, which is very limited on the number of people that can be in there making changes and doing updates and stuff at any given time.
And then selling, of course, to their vendors and things like that. So then all the systems are.
Yep. So if I'm insurance carrier A, I can investigate my claims internally using my account. Mm-hmm. I can also send.
And it'll fit right in.
Part of that case out to an outside vendor because maybe I don't have the surveillance guy in California. So they can work that case and share it with me, but also that outside vendor in California can work their cases in their account as well. I hope that clarified that. That's a great question.
Are your customers paying you right now?
Absolutely. Yep.
And what's your end? What do you see the end game? Are you playing selling, or are you just playing? What are you trying to do with that 500,000?
I enjoy it. As do our developers. I mean, we're a small team. We all sit in the same room right now. I mean, every one of our clients, any new call we get goes on speakerphone. We listen to everybody's input, thoughts, everything. And again, going back to the agile methodologies, we take feedback from our current clients and people that say they want to come on board, and that's where we kind of take our queue of different features and functionality that we want to do and push that up towards the top. So every 2 weeks we get together as a team and we vote on what we want to do. We put that into the sprint. We've got Kanban boards all over the office, and we move new stuff in and then push it out into the production server.
What project management tool do you use, or software development tools to manage a project?
We use a tool called Redmine, and then our lead developer hooked it up into a big visible Kanban board that we all look at, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but we can see the different features and items as they move through the production process.
Justin, how long have you been doing this?
I've been at the company for about 4.5 years. I was the second person hired in next to a junior project management guy, and then, like I said, we had some development resources overseas. Again, they don't know what American insurance is. They don't even know how it works. So giving them specifications and feedback and so forth was just very difficult. When we moved the guys inside and hired them all, I mean, it was night and day. It's unbelievable. In fact, I had that junior guy come back to the office and show him where we're at now, and he's like, Jesus, this is how it should have always been. So.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you very much. customer this evening is Greg Hammerman. Greg loves to travel. He once went on an epic 6-week camping trip across the U.S. and a 6-month trip to Asia and South America. I'd be interested in seeing how you got your employer to let you do that. That's always the hard part. And he said that they probably have the largest database of perks and benefits on the planet. So I think that would also be interesting. So Greg, 5 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Greg. As he said, Igor is sitting in the second row. He's with me. We are part of the Larky guys. So show of hands. Anybody here a member of AAA? Use AAA trip. So Hard Rock Cafe, straight across campus Martius. You get a discount at Hard Rock Cafe with your AAA card. Anyone have Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance? A couple of people have that. Moose Jaw Mountaineering, you get a 10% discount at Moose Jaw Mountaineering with your Blue Cross card. I'm a University of Michigan alum. I get a discount on Ford cars, Cedar Point missions, all kinds of fun things like that. What Larky is all about is these organizations that are out there that are providing all these perks and benefits and discounts to their members for various reasons, but the problem that all of us have is none of us can keep them straight. Nobody can remember that. This is a time to whip out your AAA card or mention you're a member of this association. It's a big problem. There's actually 200,000 plus organizations just in the United States that are offering these perks and benefits, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. I think the part that's interesting to me is that they're actually really good motivating offers. They're not things that are just like save a nickel here or a dollar there. There are things that are substantial dollars saved at places that we all shop at every day. But as I was saying, the system is a bit broken as it is right now. So from a consumer's perspective, you can't keep track of all these things. It's difficult to remember where you get the perks. Most of us get sort of a renewal notice in the mail and go, oh, that's really cool, I get all these discounts, then we promptly forget about it. A lot of times there's difficulty in doing the redemptions. So sometimes there's places where you show your card, sometimes it's a special phone number you call, sometimes it's a code you put in on a website. It's not really all together in one place. And it really leaves money on the table for us. I know for me personally, there have been a lot of times where I'll buy something or go somewhere and then later on realize, if I would have remembered to do that, I would have saved too much. The membership organizations, it's kind of interesting. As we got into this, we sort of questioned them. Why are you guys doing this? Why do you offer these perks? We found a couple different answers. One was loyalty, that they want you when it comes time to renew AAA or pick which health insurance you have to say, oh, last year that actually worked out pretty well for me. I got the core value from being a member of this thing or joining, but I also saved a bunch of money. The other thing that we didn't know at the start was a lot of times they actually get affinity revenue back. If you buy a Ford car and use a University of Michigan discount, Ford pays University of Michigan a little bit of money. So it's actually that the organizations really want you to use those perks quite a bit. But right now, with the system being broken, it really doesn't help them out in those ways. Oh, and the last one there, sorry about that. They don't really get a lot of insight into what works. We were sort of shocked to know that these associations that offer these perks, they don't really get much reporting back on who's using what, where they're using, so they can't use. This is why when you get a AAA recall or renewal letter, it doesn't say, hey, last year you saved money here, here, and here. They don't know. They have no idea what's going on. So that's what we're here to fix. So we make sure that individuals get all the perks, discounts, and benefits that they're entitled to. We do it through magic, which I'll show you a little bit in a moment, so that they know right at the right point, place, and time. And we increase revenue and loyalty for the organizations. So the magic. Larky is a free mobile app. Don't go right now. It's not in the App Store right now. We're in closed private beta, but we're submitting to Apple by the end of this quarter, hopefully sooner than that. Thank you. It's also a free website, but the whole point of it is you can very easily go in and say what you're a member of. You don't have to put in your membership number or expiration dates. You can literally check a box. And if you want to, the mobile app can tell you as you walk near a place, as it did when I went into CompuWare last week, hey, don't forget you've got a 10% discount at Hard Rock Cafe because you're a member of this organization. All right, into our right side, Brent. It's a huge space. There are 115 million people in the United States that have memberships. At least 65 million of those have more than 3. There are 200,000 membership organizations offering these types of discounts and trying to figure out how to do it better and more effectively. So we're helping everybody involved. I feel good about this business we're involved because it helps the consumers, it helps the organizations, and it helps the merchants that are aligned with those. So that's a good place to be. Again, it is a free website and mobile app. One of the asks I'll have of you is go to larky.com. There's a place to sign up so that when we are public and available, you can download it, give it a shot, let us know what you feel like, what it feels like to you. A little bit about the founders. Me and my partner Andrew, who couldn't be here tonight, we actually met in undergrad. We've been working together for 10 plus years. We had another business that we grew, started an apartment. raised some money, grew, and sold to Thomson Reuters a couple of years ago, and now we're back at it again. Last thing I want to sort of touch on in my last couple seconds here, the sort of bigger picture of what we're trying to do. We're trying to touch on a bunch of different spaces where there's some interesting things happening. People earlier tonight have talked about mobile payments. We don't know what's going to win. We're pretty convinced that you will be paying with your phone somewhere down the road. But the integration point of, and when you pay, it automatically applies your discount because the database that we have of you're a member of AAA or you're a member of these other 200,000 organizations being applied is a pretty interesting piece. Loyalty is not going anywhere. All these organizations want you to be a member and continue to participate. Am I allowed to continue my? Thank you. Online to offline commerce, another place that's happening, a lot of activity there, so we're sort of pushing that line of things that you find online and actually walking in the store to do it. And smart apps. The apps that make fun noises and do interesting things are kind of fun, but I think a lot of us are getting a little bit of app worn out. We're sort of looking for something that actually helps you in your daily life. So we're in the middle of that place. Last slide and last thing. We started the company in 2012. We raised some money back then. We're actually not seeking funding today. Our sort of plan of action is we have this closed beta. We will be publicly available, and we're pushing hard to grow. And one of the main ways we're growing is we're working with those associations. We've told them what we're doing, and we provide value to them. So we've signed agreements with about 8 organizations that have about 300,000 members, and their message out to their members is download Larky, use Larky, make sure you get everything that we've provided for you guys. So that's what we're doing. We do need technical people. Everybody needs technical people. So if you know of anybody looking for a job in an exciting, interesting place, we'd love to talk to them. And we will be looking for funding later this year, but that's really after we have a critical mass of users, more associations signed up, and proof that what we're doing is working. So, thank you.
Any questions?
How do you make money?
Right now, actually, those initial agreements with the associations, we're charging them for some analytics based on what their members are doing. They're conglomerated analytics, so it's not saying this guy did that. But what we found out was it was really interesting for them to know what else their members were members of already. Sounds a lot of members there. But for example, we were talking to someone who's putting together a perks program. They're saying, we think we should do hotel discounts. And we can tell them, you know that 85% of your members are already members of AAA and are getting better hotel discounts than you can get. We can tell them what their members are searching for, that people are out and about and they're looking for restaurants or they're looking for car dealers or whatever they're looking for, and provide that data back to them. We've also had a couple of merchants that approached us that said, we did this deal with this association because we wanted to get a targeted audience. If you can help drive more people to us, that they'll give us a chunk of revenue. So we have a couple of people who've approached us that way. Way in the back.
Yeah. First off, the logo is great. We love it. Second question, or point. This one being a question. First one being a point. Logo is great. What's the category competition like?
It's interesting. We have not found many direct competitors. There isn't someone out there, if you guys know of somebody, let me know, but we haven't found somebody playing in sort of the membership, what you already deserve kind of space. We often get kind of lumped together with, oh, you're a deal site, you're a deal, your offer is your Retail Me Not, or your Groupon, or one of those things. We're not selling anything all that special. I mean, my big concern, being the founder of the company, is people are sort of tired of all these different messages coming at them, and how do we win people to say, wow, this is really worthwhile, I'm really going to save real money, and it's going to make a difference. I think we have to have big victories with a couple of folks that start telling stories. I mean, my story I always tell is I was in a family museum in Florida. I have 2 young kids, and I was at a kids museum. And I was ready to pay them on vacation. It was $60 for a family to go to the kids museum. I'm supporting nice museums, it's all wonderful. But right before I paid, it sort of dawned on me that, like, wait, I'm a member of the Hands-On Museum in Ann Arbor. Is there reciprocity? And the answer is, oh yeah, you guys are free. And like, that moment, we need to find that moment with lots of different people out there to go, well, geez, I saved $60 because Larky popped up on my phone and said, don't forget, you get in here free, or you saved 20% here. So hope that answers your question.
It seems like with this rewards kind of program that you have a lot in common with Glyph, right, who spoke earlier. Right. So I don't know, maybe you guys need to talk.
We have. No, Mike and I have lunch together.
My question for you is, where did you come up with the names? A little goofy. And
thank you. I like that. I think that is a compliment. Goofy's a good thing. I can't spell, and so I could actually spell Larky. The whole idea of Larky was, we were playing on the lark or whim kind of part of it. Like you didn't even know you had something good coming, and originally there was a lot heavier focus on the just sort of at the moment something pops up and you weren't expecting it. That time when I'm standing in the kids museum and ready to pay $60 and like on a lark, on a whim, this thing comes up. So the spelling of it, that sort of feeling of it, we've tried to sort of have a personality of the company being sort of fun and whimsical and irreverent a little bit.
Any other questions? Great, thank you very much. So that ends our formal presentation set for this evening. I think that all of our speakers are still here. So we've got some soft drinks, some water over there. We'll get to the announcements in just one quick second. So, do mingle around. I think there are some munchies outside. Are there any other events coming up soon that people want to broadcast? We definitely want to make sure let everyone know what the community is doing.
Well, DNewTech is what, next Tuesday?
Okay. That takes place in Ann Arbor. Yes, you're back.
We have Free Lunch Friday. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of that, but it's a global nonprofit. Actually, I'm the community leader for the Detroit location. It's all over the world. We have a luncheon event on the last Friday of each month, so February 22nd is the upcoming event. Registration opens next week. It features basically open floor discussion. We ask who's doing what problems anyone having, who's hiring, who's looking for a job, and we try to facilitate introductions right there on the spot. So only 100 people can come, so our first event had that 100 people. We try to keep it exclusive because we want an intimate feeling, but we also have a speaker who flies out and speaks for 20 minutes. This month we have Mike McGee of Starterly. It's actually the first software development school. It's out in Chicago. He bootstrapped his company, him and his partner Neil, from $0 to almost $4 million in revenue in just the past, almost 2 years. And they also just recently closed a deal with the Chicago Mayor's Office to teach 4,000 college and high school students Ruby on Rails in 2014, actually. So that's pretty cool. And 37 Signals invested in them, so the guys who created Ruby. So that's pretty cool. So he'll be here. And he'll be sticking around for the entire day. To end, we have an executive from Dell. So if you guys have any startups, he's looking to invest in startups with proprietary technology.
So all 100 slots are going to go to us here tonight. So we're going to go.
Well, actually, so it's the Free Lunch Friday. They have, I don't think they have a sign up on there, but what you guys can do is, if you're interested, I could take your information down, and yeah, I'll send you guys an email once registration opens.
Why don't you give us your email?
It's like I'll give it to you. So it's Delane, DELANE at Founder Campus. FOUNDERCAMPUS.com. And also you can just ping me on Twitter at Delane, at DELANE. We allow like 150 people to RSVP. Sometimes, generally because it's a free event, only maybe 100 people show. The first event, all 100 shown, so not sure how it's going to turn out.
You can post a comment to the DNewTech website.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. And another thing, last thing, guys. Founder Campus, we're also offering, so Founder Campus is a education, it's really a project right now that I'm working on because I have a lot going on, but I'm really fascinated with the education space. I helped start a mobile app development school out in Santa Monica. So I didn't like that, it was just no culture there, right? Because Hollywood, Santa Monica, Venice Beach, they're all different ecosystems, but they all are under that LA roof. So I came back here, and I decided that I wanted to go back into the education space. So I created this project. It's called Founder Campus. It's an entrepreneurial learning community for individuals, us, seeking education and business design and technology. I kind of have this plan comprised of 3 different phases. The first phase is to offer classes, so just to find out what the community wants. The classes generally last 90 to 180 minutes. It's on a wide variety of topics. And then I wanted to move into workshops to find out, if you wanted, the class is more so of a teaser, right? We don't make money doing it anyway, but just the workshop to dive a little bit deeper and then go into those long form courses, which are like certificate programs, so data scientists, digital marketing, things like that. And then we also, I have partnerships with a lot of different companies I'm working with to help people get jobs after they take, a long form course. But right now we're in that phase 1. So we have a few classes on our schedule coming up. The first class is just more of a tester. It's called The Art of the Cold Call. So we have this guy named Georges Janney. He taught this class out in New York. He's a top headhunter in New York at Day Partners. He taught it to like over 300 people. It's actually been featured in the Inc. magazine and also in Under 30 CEO as 8 classes that all entrepreneurs should take. So
sounds like you should present.
Oh,
you're now for 3.5 minutes.
He's all done
presenting. That's the PowerPoint. March 6th, you're the first speaker that's going to sign up. That sounds great. It's exactly the kind of excitement and buzz that we're looking for. Any other, Charlie?
Sure. I'm Charlie Moret. I'm with TechTown, the Director of Entrepreneurial Services, and we're about to launch an inaugural Tech Venture Accelerator for startup businesses. If you go to our website, techtowndetroit.org, there's information. It'll be a competitive process in that startup teams will be provided with a $10,000 in startup capital, as well as an intensive course over 3 months where we follow the Startup Owner's Manual methodology, and we'll have additional mentors, coaches, access to resources, and then access to potential follow-on funding. So if either you or anyone's interested, direct them to our website. It's techtowndetroit.org. Applications are opening on February 15th with a deadline of March 15th, and the program will start on April the 8th. And it is a full-time commitment, though. It's not a part-time. You have to work full-time for the 12 weeks in the program. So, and I'll stay around if anybody wants a little additional information.
And you can post that in the comment section.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Any other events coming up that anyone wants to hear? Okay.
The Garden has a happy hour. They usually are, very open to people's ideas. Who's Oakland University is Mid-Michigan's event. I don't know if you've been to Boost, but basically what they do is they have about 3 judges, all basically VCs and angel investors, and you get a pitch ideas for I think 3 to 5 minutes, no slides or anything. And at the end, they select 1 or 2, and they get to go out to dinner with them. And then apparently by the end of the year, they take all the top-notch presenters and bring them to a gala where all the Blue Water Angels investors are up in the Midlands. That's Boost Oakland University in April. And I think there's one more someone sent to me. It's at Wayne State on February 11th, the 2nd Annual Entrepreneurial Week Conference, Growing Your Business Successfully. It's a 4-day conference. Apparently they have an agenda with special keynote speakers every day. It's free for DNewTech, so check it out. I know I'm going to post it on the website as soon as I get the agenda, but just clear your schedule for February 11th.
Anything else?
Well,
yes.
We're all meeting at 4 Ann's to actually get something to eat after this.
Okay.
Oh yeah, always.
Across the street, right?
There is a competition for social entrepreneurs that was recently launched by a guy named Rich Taffel. He's actually an advisor for Pavo. So MichiganCorp.com, CORPS, MichiganCorp.com, or .org rather. And the winner gets $50,000 to launch their social enterprise. So you can go online and to the website and check it out. It's open for contestants right now.
I think we have one more announcement.
Yeah, actually, I just started a video meetup group. Small M meetup. It'll be in Ann Arbor next Wednesday. It's the abbreviation is A2VIG. If you're involved with video in any way, you're welcome to come along or join or watch remotely. A2VIG.org.
Okay. Our next formal meeting for DNewTech will be March 6th. It's the first Wednesday of the month. We'll be at Atomic Object, who is one of our sponsors. So I think that was basically it. So there's popcorn and slushies and whatnot outside. Please intermingle with one another, and thank you all for coming out. Have a good night.
Hey, how's it going?